right, I'm here with my worm bin supplies, and a lot of it you recognize. This is my Vermihut, this is my tiny worm bin, and here's the coffee bin I use. But some of this other stuff is stuff that I use, and I want to show you how I use it and let you know how easy it is to use. And I just want to do a special shout out to Chris Kelly for fashioning this rake with the logo Vermicompost, Learn by Doing. Really appreciate that. So let's get into it. All right, the first thing I wanted to show you is my shredder. A lot of people ask me how I get the cardboard like it is and what kind of shredder, that kind of thing. This is an Amazon Basics. I bought it probably 2 or 3 years ago, and it says it's 12 sheet crosscut. So I just want to show you what 12 sheets is like. Some of this has been folded over to make 12 sheets, but you can kind of listen to what it sounds like. Alright, so that's what it sounds like with 12 sheets of paper. Here's what it sounds like with some corrugated cardboard. And as you can tell, the corrugated cardboard went in better and made less of a sound than the 12 sheet paper. So I have no problem putting corrugated cardboard in here, and I have been doing this for well over 1.5 years and have had no issues whatsoever with the shredder. So it eats corrugated cardboard like nobody's business. And here is what comes out. Perfect shredded cardboard and paper. The next thing I use a lot in my worm bins is pulverized eggshells, and you see it in this little jar, and they are absolutely tiny when you see me using them in my worm bins. And the way that I do that is, the first thing I'll do is I've got a separate jar, and I'll put the eggshells inside of that after I've cleaned out the inside of them and let them dry for probably a day or so. Put them in the jar, and I shake them up so that they are a little bit smaller than they were at the beginning. And then I take this Magic Bullet tiny blender, and this thing is super cheap. I've got some links in the description. But I put those remnants in here, and this is just a blender cup, and I actually grind my coffee beans in here, and of course wash it in between. And it takes these shells from here, and it turns them into a perfect consistency for the worms to use as grit in their gizzards. And I'll just kind of show that to you right here. Perfectly powdered, pulverized eggshells for the worms. The next couple of things I want to talk about were the Vermihut themselves and the tiny worm bin. Now the Vermihut came with 5 of these trays, and these are the trays that you put the bedding and that the worms live in, and they stack on top of each other. And you can see how there are 1/4 inch holes that the worms travel up and down, and this actually acts as a sifter for when you're ready to harvest. The Vermihut is extremely easy to use, and I really enjoy it. You're able to have it inside, outside, and the worms have no problem, no escapees. You'll get some on the sides, but they'll go up towards the lid. And it is just a fantastic worm bin that I've enjoyed. It is more on the costly side than a DIY worm bin or something like a Rubbermaid bin, but if this is something that you'd like, watch my videos and you can see how to use it. Now with that Vermihut came a couple of tools. This is a rake, and if you look, I usually don't use a rake, I'll use my hands, but when I'm not doing the videos, occasionally I can come in here and use the rake, and this is a baster that I've actually never used, and I guess that's to kind of dig around, but just some of the equipment that comes with it. It also comes with a block of cocoa coir for the first time that you're starting this bin with some worms. And then over here we have the tiny worm bin, and this is just a Rubbermaid Roughneck 3-gallon bin, and so simple. I've got a video where I show you how to make it, but with the drilled holes and tape and the screen. But this thing, if you're in a small home, a college dorm, an RV, or a classroom, this is right up your alley. Get your food scraps, make them into garden gold and prevent them from going to the landfill or your trash can, or vice versa. So this is one of my favorite bins, and again, I've got a playlist on how to use this. And then finally, my last worm bin is just a fabric pot. Now this, I believe, is probably a 5 or 3 gallon, but I have 20 gallons for my outdoor worm bin. It's a little bit too bulky to bring in here, but this is a very inexpensive fabric pot that is used for growing, but can also be used for a worm bin. And it is fantastic because of the kind of felt fabric nature of it. It releases just the perfect amount of moisture no matter what you do, whether your worm bin is flooded with liquid or you are just putting food scraps in, it will hold the moisture that it needs. So I really enjoy this, especially for an outdoor worm bin. And I'm here in Florida, so I can keep my worm bin outside year round. These are really fantastic, but those are my 3 worm bins. All right, and the last thing to show you is some of the tripods and the cameras that I use. This is just a GoPro 7 and a Insta360 Go 2 that help to capture all the video that I take, and this is a light. It's actually a camping light, but just kind of gives some backlight to things. This tripod is really cool because you can bend the legs and put it however you want and wrap it. So for some of those shots that I use where I'm kind of over the bin, but I'm getting the good shot, this tripod is fantastic. So that is some of the camera equipment I use. So all of this stuff that I've shown you, I've got links in the description. I'm an Amazon associate, and what that means is it's an affiliate link, so if you click on it, I'll get a very small percentage, but it won't cost anything extra to you. None of this stuff is paid promotion. It's just the stuff I use. Some of it works really well, some of it I have issues with, and you can see in the various videos for all 3 playlists for all 3 bins on what I think of all this stuff. So I hope everybody's having a great day, and happy vermicomposting, everybody. Take care now.